Hey everybody, a pretty cool event happening this weekend here in Hamilton County. The Birchwood community is again seeing thousands of sandhill cranes as part of their migration south. And for decades, the recovering population of eastern sandhill cranes made the Hiwassee Refuge their temporary home as they head south. The 31st annual Sandhill Crane Festival will be today and tomorrow, and it always attracts a crowd. Admission is free and you will be shuttled to the refuge from the old Birchwood School. The Hiwassee Refuge is the perfect location for these birds and other wildlife to gather.
You don't see this amount of sandhill cranes everywhere. It's only in areas that have good habitat management. I mean, you can hear them behind me probably. There's a lot of birds here, and it's nice to see so many.
Now, the Sunday portion of the festival could be canceled due to inclement weather, so continue to watch our storm alert team for updates. And speaking of that team, we have our very own Clay Smith over here in our weather center. And Clay, it definitely seems like Saturday is the better day to get out and do stuff, but all those cranes looked incredible. I know you got to see that yourself yesterday.
Yeah, it definitely is a sight to see. So if you have the opportunity, I would definitely head up today. It's a cool little treat for you and your family, very family-friendly festival. But again, we're going to have some nasty weather moving in throughout the weekend. So far, we're dry, and that's going to be most of the first part of your Saturday. Then the rain moves in. So as we take a look at what's going on locally, again, temperatures still very chilly across the region, but we're above freezing. So anything that falls today is just going to be rain. Now, as we kind of track out these temperatures locally, it is a little bit cooler in the higher elevations. Murphy at 31, 34 in Blue Ridge, and 38 in Altamont. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised for a few snowflakes to mix in later this evening along the plateau, but still primarily going to be a rain event for your Saturday. So let's take a look at the radar. Again, here's our approaching system. Been very complicated trying to figure out exactly where those heaviest snow bands are going to set up and just what this system is going to do. But notice these winter storm warnings in effect in the purple shade. We have advisories, in the pink shade. The purple is actually advisories, and the blue winter storm watches. So as we kind of hone in on this, heavy snow now falling into portions of Missouri, Iowa, and Illinois. This is going to continue to drop to the south, bringing snow to places like Arkansas, potentially even Memphis later tonight. So let's track out what this means for you locally. Again, today we're going to start to see that rain streaming in, we'll say 4 or 5 o'clock from west to east, typical. And as we go through the evening, periods of heavy rain. But notice some of this trying to switch over into western North Carolina. Again, there's going to be some colder air out to our east. So places like Asheville, maybe even Greenville, South Carolina start to mix in with that snow as early as this evening. We're going to stay rain pretty much all night long. And as we go into tomorrow morning, still all rain, even along the plateau. But look what happens a little bit later in the morning. By about 9 o'clock, that shift starts to occur along the plateau. So Grundy County, potentially northern Marion into Sequatchie, we start to see that transition. And as we go into the afternoon, some of that snow tries to mix in for places like North Georgia, Cherokee County. But notice that rain still holding on for the valley into Athens, all the way down to Chattanooga. But as we get that colder air moving in, it's going to try to switch over to all snow as we go into Sunday evening. But here's the catch-22. We're going to start to see the precipitation moving out as that transition occurs. So any snow that falls will be moving out very quickly, because by 8 o'clock, here goes the snow kind of just holding on into western North Carolina and then fading out. But again, this is going to be a pretty decent rainmaker for us. We're going to have anywhere from 1/2 of an inch to 1 inch of rain falling as we go into early Sunday. So a nice soaker coming, but let's get to the snow portion. Again, winter weather alerts. Watches into portions of the plateau down into northeast Alabama. Advisories for North Georgia were up to 1 inch or 2 possible in isolated locations. The best chance for accumulating snow and high impact winter weather is going to be in your winter storm warning areas: Fannin, Gilmer, Cherokee, eastern Polk, and Monroe counties, back into western North Carolina, northeast Georgia, and upstate South Carolina. And notice there are no advisories for the I-75 corridor from Chattanooga to Athens. So the valley, although we will have probably a little snow falling from the sky, not going to be a big deal. So here's my latest thinking. Again, that D stands for dusting. A dusting to 1 inch for most of the valley locations. Now, there is the potential for a few isolated areas to get a little more than that, but highest amounts, of course, going to be along the plateau, 2 to 5 inches possible. 1 to 3 into Jackson and DeKalb counties, and upwards of 2 to 4 inches in Fannin and Gilmer, about 1 inch to 2 inches into Murphy. But again, those higher elevations above 2,500 feet potentially seeing 3 inches or more. So it does look like we are going to have at least some minor impacts in the valley, higher impacts into the higher elevation. So definitely a complex system coming our way, but again, not expecting too much for the Chattanooga area, although we will have a few flakes flying around Sunday. Flurries left behind on Monday, and then our next rainmaker comes in by the middle of the week.
Well, Clay, definitely a good reason again to remind people to